Hello my friends! In this video I'll show you a very easy and a very fun project. I'm going to paint 3 flowers in a glass of water, and for this I'm going to use both my brush and my finger. So at the beginning I define my working area. I'm going to have on top the background, and on the bottom will be the table where I'm going to place my flowers. As you already know, I'm pretty sure of this, in order to get a neutral gray, we'll have to mix black and white. If we put more black in the color, then we'll have a darker gray. If we add more white, then we'll have a brighter and lighter gray. I want for the background to get a neutral gradient. I want it to be brighter on the top, and as it gets closer to the table to get darker close to black. And for this reason I'm blending the black and the white. And here the key in order to get a soft gradient and soft transition from the bright hues to the darker tones is to have a wet support. And since I mentioned the support, here I'm painting on paper and I'm painting with acrylics. Now, if you want a little bit of variation, you can paint on canvas and it works great, and you can also use oils. If you do use oil, keep in mind that oil dries slower than the acrylic. It's time now to use my finger. So on the wet support, I'm just dragging my finger back and forth, and the result is a soft and nice gradient. For the table, I am doing the same thing. I'm using the brightest grays on top and the darkest one on the bottom. And here I'm cleaning the edge of the table and I'm applying several layers of white. I'm filling the entire surface of the table with white to make sure that my support is wet. And afterwards I'm applying black and I'm blending it in. At the beginning I used my brush and afterwards I switched to my finger and I'm applying the color. I blend and then I apply again and I blend until I am happy with the way it looks, until there are no sharp visible lines and until everything blends together. To create a sharp line to divide the table and the background, I'm using a ruler to make sure that it's nice and a clean cut. Of course, we can do it without it, but it's easier with a little help. With black, I'm fixing the top part. Now, if you do use a ruler as a help, make sure that the entire painting is dry. If it's wet, then you will create additional lines that you don't want. It's time to move on and it's time to sketch the glass. For this, I am positioning it first and it's going to be a little bit on the right side. This is one edge. And on the other side, I'm going to put the other edge. After a few minutes, when everything gets dry, I'm applying a few more layers of white on my edges. And I finish the bottom of the glass. I'm not putting the top part yet because there are gonna be some flowers there and that top edge will be covered. The next step in completing the glass is to do the internal walls. And for this we're going to draw a vertical line on each side of the glass. First we do the left and then the right. Of course you can do the right first and then the left. I reapply a layer of white, and then with my finger I'm just dragging the color towards the inside of the glass, and I'm repeating the same thing on the other side. Like this, we are adding texture and we make our glass look like actually glass. And I'm doing this several times until I fill enough of that edge with a dragging white color. I'm applying it on both sides. And for the bottom, I'm going to fill all up with white. And of course, I'm blending it with my finger in order to have a soft looking glass. That's the beauty of painting. You can come and redo an area that you did before, and you said that yes, it looks good, but later on when you take a closer look, you said, it needs a little accent, and you can come and you can add more of it. Or on the opposite side, if you did something before and you say actually it doesn't look too good, you can come and you cover it up. I'm applying more white until I get an opaque layer, applying it on both sides. And with black, I'll put a little accent on the bottom. And I'm blending it with my finger while it's still wet. Since I already have a black on my brush, I want to do some corrections on each side of the glass to make sure that my lines are straight. This is the funniest part of the entire project. We're painting the flowers. And for this, I'm going to use my finger. I already have some white and I'm drawing here my first flower. I'm applying several layers of white here. And it will look like this. For the second flower, I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm putting my flower on the other edge of the glass. Of course, they don't have to be a perfect circle. And here it's the third flower. It's a little smaller than the previous two flowers. Just like that. I'm filling my first flower with small dots of red. And I dab. Even if I go a little bit over the previous contour, that is okay. While it's still wet, I'm changing the color. I'm using black now, and I'm applying it on the edge. Now I'm going back to red. And I'm filling in the areas that I didn't fill before and covering some part that I did before with black. And now I'm using white. With this, I will apply few strokes of white, but because the support is still wet, my white will mix with the red and will create a bright pink. And a few more accents with black. For the second flower, we will repeat the same steps. First, we will apply the red. I'm going to apply it over the edge that I did before with white. Now some shadow with black and some highlights with white. And now I'm just mixing everything together and it will create a beautiful texture. And now the little flower. First the red, then the black, not too much, I don't want it to be very dark, and the white highlights. I am positioning my leaves now. One on the top, one right here. I'm adding highlights with white and I'm blending everything together to create a leaf texture. And let's add one more leaf right here and a few highlights. Now let's go back to the brush. First, I'm going to position the stems of the flowers. The other one will be across the first one, like an X here, just like that. And the third one should be around here. I'm adding a layer of green on each one, and I will adjust the shape a little bit to make sure that they look pretty. And a little dark accent right here. For the waterline, I'm going to use only white. And then I will fill this area with one layer of watery light. I want to create the feeling of transparency. I'm enhancing a little more, just one side. And I'm applying again the watery white. And I will wrap up everything with few accents of white. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and you had fun. See you next time with another project. Bye!